I'm creating a JoJo game, and I had to make a 3D model for JOTARO. In this video, I'm going to take you through the entire process of making this character. And by the end, you will not only see how JOTARO was created, but also get an idea of how characters in other games are made. I'm going to use a program called Blender to make JOTARO. This program is specialized in making 3D stuff, so it's a very great tool. The first thing we need to do before starting with a 3D model is having the base dummy and image references. In my case, this is the dummy I'm going to use, and also these are my references. I gathered references of JOTARO's classic look from Stardust Crusaders, and I tried to find the best quality images, and also full body ones since I'm going to make a 3D model of his entire body. Now that we have everything set up, let's start with a 3D model. First, I decided to work on the arms, focusing on the overall shape since this seemed like the easiest part to begin with. After completing the arms, I moved on to the pants and belt. Honestly, this was the easiest part of the entire model, since they don't require a lot of detail. I created the general form and made minor adjustments later. Then I modeled his torso and the rest of his clothes. Here, I encountered the most challenging part of the entire process: the jacket. The version you are seeing here is not the final one. I faced numerous issues with the jacket, and you will see them later in the video. It's crucial to correctly check the silhouette of the model. A good silhouette ensures the character is instantly recognizable, even without textures or fine details. I decided to work on his hat later. Using simple shapes at the beginning helps ensure the overall structure feels right. Now, this was the most challenging and time-consuming part of the entire process. Usually, I use Substance Painter for the texture of my 3D models, but after my tricks for using Substance Painter for free stopped working, I had to find another method. I decided to texture directly in Blender, and surprisingly, Blender's texture tools are quite intuitive and easy to learn, so I was able to adapt quickly. The process for the pants, shoes, and arms follow a similar approach. I kept texture simple but focused on adding several details, like shadows and highlights, to enhance their overall appearance. There are some interesting things to point right here. First, I've never noticed how big JOTARO's shoulders are. After seeing the references, I had to apply that to the 3D model. I tried to imitate the references for his shoulders, and I think it turned out very well. And yes, I spent a lot of time texturing the backs of JOTARO's pants, and no one will ever see that effort because the jacket is in front of it. And before we continue, I wanted to say that if you are interested in the development of my JoJo game, My Golden Heaven, feel free to join to our Discord server. Now let's continue with the video. I really love texturing the belt. Using new colors was definitely a breath of fresh air for me, and it wasn't very complicated since it followed a very simple pattern. In the upper part, it uses yellow or green, and in the lower part, it uses red. The gold part of the belt only used 3 shades of yellow. Since this part is so small, it doesn't need much detail. The hardest part of the entire process was definitely the jacket. As you can see here, the jacket has gone through some significant changes. That's because I wasn't satisfied with how the first version turned out, so I made the decision to completely rework it. Here's a comparison between the old one and the new one. There was a lot of things that I didn't like about the first version of the jacket. The first one is that it wasn't optimized, and the second one is I didn't feel like it looks like JOTARO's jacket. I think the new version looks so much better, and texturing it was actually very entertaining. And after finishing the jacket, I just had to make the hat. This is how the 3D model looks with it. With the JOTARO being fully textured and complete, it was time to bring JOTARO into Roblox Studio. The importing process is pretty straightforward, but it takes some time. Since JOTARO will be R15 and all the parts of his body have separate textures, I need to export them one by one. So yeah, it takes a lot of time. Once everything was imported into Roblox Studio, the final step was to weld the parts together. And after that, the model is finished. My plan for this JOTARO 3D model is to make it available to players as a character option when they have Star Platinum. We are using the same approach for all the stands in the game. If you are interested in the development of my JoJo game, My Golden Heaven, feel free to join to our Discord server. See you in the next video.